Well, good evening, Central Georgia. From wintry mix up towards the north, towards storms down to the south. It's been the craziest weather day that I ever experienced, and we could have the potential for some black ice, especially for tomorrow morning. So we have that weather impact alert throughout tomorrow morning, but once we get into the afternoon, temperatures are going to be well above freezing. Pair that with sunshine and most of everything should melt. So here's a look at all the 4 sky cameras, and I'm going to also take this full screen. 4 sky cameras show a dreary outlook, and if actually the downtown Macon sky cam also looks really gloomy with mostly cloudy conditions, and the rain is still falling for much of central Georgia. Now the current temperature in Perry, 46 degrees, and the headlines show the potential for refreezing tomorrow. So much of this rain that we're experiencing right now should end in the next couple of hours. I'd say we'll be completely dry by the early morning hours. So after midnight should be completely dry, and we'll start to see the skies begin to clear as well, but temperatures will also go down to below freezing at a certain point. We'd say it's around sunrise where we'll have temperatures in the upper 20s. So because of that, we could have the potential for refreezing for anything that fell earlier today and what's falling right now. We're also going to have an extremely cold wind chill. We say wind chill values are going to be into the upper to mid-teens, and we'll have even colder wind chill values for places more towards the northwest, especially if you live in Monroe County, Jones County, and Jasper County. But of course, that weather impact alert is for the potential for black ice for anything that fell and is falling right now to refreeze once we go below freezing once again in the morning. So here's a look at the current visibility. I did a stream earlier today at 2 o'clock, and the visibility was abysmal. You could barely see anything in front of you. We had massive cloud cover on the surface, so really dense fog. And we also had the drizzle and the rain and also wintry mix towards the north. That was around the time right before that line of widespread heavy rain came in. And of course, it was storms for places more down towards the southwest where they had temperatures into the 60s. But for most of central Georgia, the wedge still held strong. We had temperatures in the 40s into the 30s. And also with the breezy weather, wind chill values were also feeling like the 30s for much of today. But right now, the fog is not so bad. The worst of the fog is down towards the south near Cordele. Dublin's seeing some fog at the current moment. And we also have some denser fog towards the northwest as we get closer to the northwest side of Monroe County. Temperatures still cold across the country. That Arctic air mass still holding strong, especially towards the north, where temperatures are consistently within the single digits in Kansas City, Wichita, St. Louis, and Oklahoma City. So basically the Great Plains and the Midwest still extremely cold. And we're also extremely cold for much of the South as well. The only place in which is extremely warm, Jacksonville, 75 degrees. It would be amazing to be in Jacksonville right now, especially in Orlando. Last time I checked their radar, it wasn't even rainy. I know Jacksonville is experiencing the rain from the same system that we had today. But Orlando, 74 degrees. Take me there, and I would love to have a trip to Disney World right now, too. It would feel fantastic. But the overall picture shows that much of the South is cold. Texas, in the teens, San Angelo in the teens and the 20s, in Dallas, 26 degrees in Houston, and 21 degrees in Washington. A little warmer in the Carolinas and Virginia. But once again, an extremely cold air mass that is affecting most of the country. Here in the Peach State, we're also experiencing the wedge, and we can still see it in place. So places up towards the north, seeing temperatures into the 30s. And central Georgia is sort of a battleground in terms of the wedge, and I'll show you what the wedge is in case you don't know it. But going locally, you can see that dividing line of cold and warm air, and that was consistently there throughout the day. We had the potential for strong storms earlier today, but it all depended on how far the warm air is going to go up north. If the warm air went for the majority of places south of I-16, well, then we would have a stronger storm chance earlier this afternoon for those areas for places south of Macon. But thankfully, the warm air was only confined for our most southwestern counties. So Dooley, Crisp, and Macon County had temperatures into the 50s and 60s. But once again, the rest of our area had temperatures into the 40s all throughout today. So it was just too cold for anything to turn into a thunderstorm or to what's the word? To sustain any thunderstorms. There you go. We also have upper 30s right now in the northernmost counties where they experienced some wintry mix throughout this past morning and throughout the night. So Monticello, Eaton, Sparta, Milledgeville into the upper 30s, a little warmer the more south you go. So here's the explanation of what's causing that dividing line of warm and cold air in our area. So it's all that cold air driven by a high pressure system towards the northeast, funneling colder air towards the mountains, so it gets wedged in. This is why we call it the wedge, because it gets wedged in from the Georgia mountains. But that cold air will also be driven towards the north by moisture, so it always lies within our viewing area. That cold air versus the warm air, it always is within I-16, where you can see places towards the north of I-16 having that cold air, and then places down towards the south seeing that warmer air. So the wedge was a very influential factor in the forecast, and it's especially influential, especially for this upcoming morning. Now the winds are calm. It was actually very breezy earlier today. It had gusts of up to 20, 25 miles per hour. Thankfully, we're not seeing much in terms of the winds, but the feels like temperatures are still relatively cold, but not seeing much of a factor on the wind chill values. So here's a look at the satellite and radar. Much of our area is still receiving rain. Macon seeing steady rain. Forsyth, the majority of the area is receiving rain. So actually, let me go state or county by county. Jasper, Putnam, Jones, Baldwin, Hancock seeing light to steady rain. Heavier showers down towards the east in Johnson County and Washington County, Wilkinson County. Dublin receiving some steady rain showers. Bleckley County, northern end of Dodge County, and also seeing some steady rain, heavy rain, for places such as Dooley County, just south of Unadilla. For all the people watching in Houston County, don't worry, I did not ignore you. Seeing lighter rain towards Warner Robins, but down towards the south of I-75, that's where the rain will become more steady. And then also seeing light showers in Chris County as well. So eventually, all this stuff that we're experiencing is going to meander towards the east, and we should be dry at the moment. Now we still have some wintry mix and freezing rain occurring for portions of the North Georgia mountains. However, for North Georgia in general and for Georgia, for our neck of the woods, the winter weather is over, most of it. And it looks like the winter weather is now moving towards the east, affecting the Carolinas. And then also as we move towards a wider view of the radar, we also have snow that's currently falling for much of New England. So the system is now moving off towards the east. It's now becoming a non-factor, especially after its multiple impacts across the country. Here's a look at the future view, and it shows the rain continuing throughout the rest of the night or until midnight. By the early morning hours, that rain will then eventually head off towards the east. We should be cloudy until 5 to 6 o'clock. This is where conditions will begin to clear, and then temperatures around sunrise are going to be below freezing for most of our area. So we're seeing temperatures consistently into the upper 20s, lower 30s. This is the window where we could have the potential for refreezing, and it looks like we'll be below freezing for a good chunk of the morning. So from the mid-morning to 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll be around or below freezing. Once we get closer to midday, that's when we'll go above freezing, and we will pair that with sunshine, so most of everything should melt by then. So that's why that weather impact alert is only for Monday morning and only for a specific portion of the morning rather than the entirety of the day. But tomorrow is going to be a mostly clear sunny day, and the same thing is true for Tuesday. However, Tuesday is also going to be extremely cold. Check the lows on Tuesday morning. 19 degrees is being reported in Macon, 17 degrees in Forsyth, 17. So around the teens for places north of I-16, in the lower 20s for places south of I-16. So an extremely cold morning, not only for tomorrow morning, but for Tuesday morning. And generally, when I show you the 7-day forecast, this week is going to be cold and dry. It will be sunny, but you'll definitely need to use your coat, especially for the start of the work week. Now, I mentioned that tomorrow morning and Tuesday morning is going to be cold, but for tomorrow morning, not only are the actual temperatures going to be cold and we'll have that potential for refreezing because it will be below freezing, however, we'll also have extremely cold wind chill values because all throughout the night and even into tomorrow, it's going to be quite windy. So here's a cold weather advisory that was issued by the National Weather Service. It's for the majority of the northwestern half of central Georgia, specifically Macon, Peach, Bibb, Jones, Putnam, Jasper, Monroe, Upson, Crawford, and Taylor County. And this is for the potential of wind chill values to be into the teens all the way to 0 degrees. Now, I don't think we'll experience 0-degree wind chill values. I think that'll be reserved for places farther towards the northwest in Atlanta or in Rome. But for us, I think mid to lower teens is definitely very possible. So here's a look at the winds, because of course you need strong winds for feels like temperatures to be lower than the actual temperatures. And this is a look at tomorrow morning. Wind gusts are expected to be into the mid-20s. You're definitely going to feel that breeze throughout tomorrow morning, causing it to feel colder than it actually is. The winds are going to get even stronger in the afternoon. 31-mile-per-hour winds in Macon, 31-mile-per-hour winds in Cordele, near 30-mile-per-hour winds in Dublin. So yeah, hold on to your hats throughout tomorrow because it's going to get quite breezy. And the winds will then begin to die down once we get into Tuesday morning. So tomorrow night will still be cold, but thankfully Tuesday is when things will get a lot calmer. So looking at the feels like temperatures I mentioned, we have the potential for feels like temperatures to be into the mid-teens. That's why the National Weather Service issued that cold weather advisory for our northwestern half of central Georgia. And here is what the models show in terms of the feels like temperatures forecasted for Monday morning. Around 9 o'clock, it will feel like 18 degrees in Macon. It doesn't show anything for places farther towards the northwest in terms of a temperature reading, but if you look at it by the colors, the more purple or pink it is, the colder it is. And you can see the more northwest, you can see a brighter shade of purple, meaning that it's colder for places more towards the northwest, such as Monroe and Jasper County. So even though it reads 18 degrees, we should look at it as colder for places more towards the northwest, especially if you live in Forsyth or in Monticello. And also with this model, it shows 8 degrees in Atlanta and 7 degrees in Rome, showing that trend of colder air more towards the northwest. By tomorrow afternoon, we saw that winds are forecasted to be around 30 miles per hour. So even though the actual high for tomorrow should be into the 40s, well, it's not going to feel like that. It's still going to feel below freezing all throughout tomorrow. So even with that sunshine, we will feel like we're into the upper 20s tomorrow. So it's going to feel extremely, extremely cold. And then in my opinion, I think we will definitely get a cold weather advisory for Tuesday morning because the forecasted wind chill values for Tuesday morning in the single digits. And I remember we had a cold weather advisory last year. We had really low feels like temperatures last year, but I do not remember them being this low. I don't remember single digit feels like temperatures. And if this is correct, we would feel like the single digits all throughout Tuesday morning. If this is right, 9 degrees in Macon, and then the more north you go, even lower. This is reading potentially 3 degrees wind chill values in Atlanta. I do not want to go outside on Tuesday morning. Thankfully, I will have Tuesday morning off. Those are typically my off days, so I'll be staying in, sleeping in, and I'll be enjoying my nice blanket because, wow, that is too cold. And I'm from Pennsylvania. I went to school in Pennsylvania, but I did not see many days like this in my time up north. So once again, I'm going to stress this. Please bundle up, especially for Tuesday morning and tomorrow morning, because that is ridiculously cold. Once we get into Tuesday afternoon, wind chill values will warm up slightly into the mid-30s, and then we're going to go back to cold by Wednesday morning. So here's that weather impact alert. So the weather impact alert is for the potential for refreezing, for black ice. for tomorrow. So what I mean for the potential refreezing, I don't mean the ice accumulations that we've been talking about, especially for Saturday night and earlier this morning. Thankfully, the ice accumulations were minor. We came out mostly unscathed, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So we're not going to see anything in terms of power outages anymore. That's gone, thankfully. However, with all this rain that fell earlier today and right now, all that could potentially refreeze. So I don't think travel is going to be quite impossible, but I do think you could encounter some slick spots. So when you drive tomorrow, if you have work or if you have school tomorrow, make sure you drive a little bit more slow than what you usually drive. Just drive with extra caution. But I still don't think driving is just going to be impossible. I'm not going to tell you to miss out or stay inside, but just drive with extra caution, and that's all you need to do for tomorrow morning. The ice is not going to be absolutely ridiculous where you'll just slip and fall immediately if you walk outside. So here's a look at the 7-day forecast. That weather impact alert still stands for tomorrow morning, and then it will end by the afternoon once temperatures go above freezing. And I know some of you are confused because I said the feels like temperatures are going to be well below freezing, but feels like temperatures is only how you feel. Actual temperatures, no matter what, are going to be above freezing. So because of that, no matter what, it's going to melt most of everything that we see, potentially refreeze, and also we'll have mostly sunny skies. So the sunshine is going to help also tremendously. And then I mentioned earlier, this week is generally going to be a cold and dry week ahead, and you can see that Tuesday morning lows are forecasted to be around 16 degrees in Macon, afternoon highs into the mid 40s. We know that wind chill values are going to be lower than that. Wednesday, highs in the upper 40s, lower 20s, so getting slightly warmer, but it sounds like an understatement since it's still extremely cold. And we should remain in the 40s and the 20s throughout much of this week as well. So I'm going to take this remaining time to answer any questions. So I'll be answering questions for about 5 minutes or so. I'm canceling my subscription for January 26th. I also am going to cancel it because it's been crazy, especially this past weekend. Schools need to close tomorrow. In my opinion, I think most schools could remain open. I don't think there's a real urgency to close them, even if there's slick spots. I think the slick spots would be also mainly for places farther towards the north. If you live down towards the south, temperatures are going to be slightly warmer for y'all. So saying Warner Robins, Houston County, Lawrence County. I actually agree with those decisions. I don't think schools closing would be needed for sure. My son and I will be sick tomorrow, sick of this cold, and stay home. Extend it to Tuesday morning too, because Tuesday morning will be by far the coldest. So if you're going to call in sick tomorrow, make that 2 days. Say you have pneumonia. No, not Tuesday. So black ice, the potential is not there for Tuesday. It's only for tomorrow morning. Is the hourly drop currently listed still accurate? Okay, so that's a good point. So earlier today, we did see some differences in the hourly drop, and it has us being warmer than what it actually is right now, which would actually heighten the black ice potential. So let me compare this to... Just comparing. So this is around, I think the models have matched up, thankfully. So obviously it's still into the upper 40s in Warner Robins, but this is generally an accurate take on what's going on right now. So I think this is now accurate. Earlier today, it was definitely not accurate at all, but now the models have corrected itself. So I think this is accurate. We're still expecting below freezing temperatures around sunrise. Is the roads going to be frozen in Dublin until 7 o'clock in the morning? I think 7 o'clock in the morning would be where things begin. So if you're driving out tomorrow morning before 7 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock, I think some things could begin. It all depends on when we go below freezing, and this model shows that we'll be below freezing at around 6 o'clock, but it shows upper 30s in Dublin. So if you're in the upper 30s, you can definitely drive. It looks like much of the below freezing temperatures will begin by 7 or 8 o'clock. Do you think bridges will be frozen? Bridges will be the first things to freeze. So yes, if we have any refreezing that happens, bridges would be the first thing to refreeze. "5 a.m. in Houston County, I think so. What time should we turn on the faucets?" Turn on the faucets before you sleep. I don't think it's going to be a hard freeze. That's a good point about the faucets. So I think you could come out with this overnight not turning on your faucets. I would still do it just to be safe. However, I would add urgency on turning on the faucets for Tuesday morning. So before you go to bed, once you go to bed tomorrow morning, please turn on your faucets, because Tuesday morning is going to be a hard freeze. It will be the coldest air that we've experienced in a year. So great point in terms of the faucets. I forgot to mention that. You can come out throughout the overnight without doing it, but Tuesday morning, please have your faucets dripping throughout that time. Okay, you know what? Good point. You know what? Let's talk about next weekend's storm. Yes, actually, great point. Let me go to the long-range future view. I know a lot of people have been asking me about the potential for another winter storm next weekend. Let me show you. So I've been tracking this as well, because of course I don't want to cover another winter storm. I know a lot of people also do not want another winter storm. 3 weekends in a row with wintry weather, absolutely not. I don't want that. And over the past couple of days, we've had some models indicating a potential snowstorm for our area. But thankfully now the models have not shown anything. They've dropped that idea of another snowstorm. So here's a look at Friday. Originally it showed large amounts of snow in our area. Now it only shows snow for the Carolinas, and it also shows maybe some flakes for our most eastern counties, and also a little flare up for our southeast central Georgia. But the consistency is gone. Earlier it showed a widespread snowstorm. We would be dumped with 24 inches of snow. Now the GFS is not showing that anymore. But we are a long way from this upcoming weekend. So there's still time for models to get consistent and to correct itself on an idea. So this is the reason why we didn't talk about the winter storm this weekend, is because it's just way too early. And this is the reason why, because past couple of days it showed a snowstorm, now it's not showing anything. So we need more time to see model consistency. I understand it's warm, but it's not going to be too warm. Yeah, so when I mean we'll warm up, I mean we'll be above freezing, but tomorrow is still going to be extremely cold. You can't see black ice if there is ice on the roads. Be safe. Yes, be safe. Black ice, you can't see it. It's always this splotch of ice on the roads, and it looks transparent on the ground, but really it's ice, and it will cause you to hydroplane. So the need, just be very, very cautious while driving if you have to tomorrow. Will school buses be safe in the morning? I think they have a protocol. I hope they're telling their drivers to drive very carefully tomorrow. But I think if they drive carefully, they'll be safe. How long for ice on the roads to thaw once above 32 degrees? It's pretty quickly. Once you have that sunshine and the temperatures above freezing, it's pretty quickly. It's just the same as if you have a bunch of ice cubes and you leave it outside and it's above freezing. it will melt quickly, but not instantaneously. If that makes sense. Are these kids going to be okay standing at the bus stop? As long as they're bundled up, they'll be safe. The roads will be safe Tuesday morning. So the ice potential is only for tomorrow morning. Tuesday morning, it will be safe to travel on, but the temperatures are going to be very, very cold. So you'll be fine driving. Maybe your tire pressure may lose some pressure because of how cold it is. So make sure you pump your tires. So yes, Tuesday morning, we will not have a concern for ice. So Tuesday morning, driving is going to be okay. It's just going to be really cold. Will there be ice on the roads in Macon? There could be some black ice, but it's not going to be, we're not expecting a lot of ice, but there could be some. So just drive carefully throughout tomorrow morning. Is Houston County Schools going to have school tomorrow? I saw something. I did see something in terms of what Houston County and what they eventually did. I think they're going to have school, if I remember correctly. But don't take my word. It was just something that I just saw randomly on Facebook. But we'll have a lot more information on the 13WMZ website in terms of school closures and who's open and who's not. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yes, yeah, they're open. Well, with that, I think that is going to be the end of the stream. Once again, to recap, tomorrow morning we have the potential for some black ice. It's not going to be a lot of black ice, but it'll be enough for you just to be very cautious on the road when driving to work or if you're having school tomorrow. And then Tuesday morning is going to be extremely cold. We're not going to have an ice risk, but just make sure to bundle up as we could have wind chill values into the single digits. So I'll be preparing for the 11 o'clock show. So be safe tonight and tomorrow morning, and also be very warm and have a good night.